You might look around the halls of MHS and think that the students passing by you have it all together. They might drive a nice car, have the newest phone, and they're always decked out in the latest fashion. But what you don't see is what they may be going through outside of school. That was the case for our next feature story. Little Rock native Kiah Hill is a state advocate director for the Arkansas Coalition Against Sexual Assault. Kiah is the secondary victim of domestic abuse. Kiah used her difficult childhood to catapult her career as an advocate for others.
When I was younger, my mom was in an abusive relationship with my biological father. Once we got out of that relationship, my mom went back and started volunteering for the shelter that we stayed in for a period of time. And then she really got into the field of domestic violence and helping victims of domestic violence. So when I got to like middle school, high school age, I kind of started following in her footsteps and learned a lot of peer mentoring curriculums. And so I started doing safe dates, healthy, unhealthy relationships with just some of my fellow high school students.
Kiah's college degree has helped advance her career in a short period of time.
And so I went to school for psychology with a minor in sociology and social work. Graduated from Henderson State, and then I started looking for a job in victim services. Monty, which is my director, had been watching me and all of the work I had done in my teenage years, and hired me as an administrative assistant when I got out of college. And then I kind of just moved up and helped her kind of restart the coalition.
Kiah's main focus is using her experiences and her education to help those in need of organization services.
So the coalition is really a training and resource center for anything or any group that deals with sexual assault interviewing or services. And so my role with advocacy is I train and certify sexual assault advocates across the state, and I provide technical assistance for the rape crisis centers and domestic violence shelters who work with sexual assault victims across the state. I'm also the person responsible for working with colleges on Title IX investigations, which are the sexual assault investigations on campus, and providing any technical assistance training to students and staff about what sexual assault is, what consent is, healthy, unhealthy relationships. We also have a law enforcement program. Our law enforcement program focuses on teaching law enforcement the best ways to interview sexual assault victims and lead to a successful investigation, because many times sexual assault investigations don't lead to prosecution. So one of our goals is to have better investigations. And then we also have a prevention side, and we work with young people on understanding boundaries, creating boundaries, healthy, unhealthy relationships. So it's more of training, and TA is what we provide to any direct service group or anybody who would come into contact with sexual assault victims.
Kiah's mother was a victim of domestic abuse when Kiah was just a child, but her mother overcame the tragic situation and began volunteering to help others in similar situations. Kiah followed in her footsteps.
I would definitely say my mom is my biggest role model. When I look at somebody who's an example of coming from a really hard situation and being able to succeed in life, she's definitely that person.
Kiah has a multifaceted idea of success.
And I would probably say success is doing something that you love to do, that feels truly fulfilling to what you're wanting to do in life, what you're wanting to be. I think there's different levels of success for everything. I think there's success in like your personal life, there's success in your business life.
When she is not working, Kiah finds joy in the simple parts of life.
So I like running and working out for fun. Obviously, COVID has stopped a lot of the fun activities. And so right now, my fun is playing with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Kiah continues to work for her future goals.
So last year, I completed my master's in public administration with emphasis in nonprofit management. So long term, I would like to become the director of a victim service agency. I haven't quite decided if more on the state level, or if I'd like to be more indirect services, working at a crisis center. So that's one of my long-term goals. And then for me, it's just to influence people.
Kiah reminds students to stay true to themselves.
I would definitely say don't worry so much about what other people think of you and do what you want to do. I spent a lot of time in my young life worrying about what other people thought, what other people wanted me to do, um, setting goals for myself that weren't really my goals, but were other people's goals for me. I wish I had learned at a younger age that um, just live for yourself.
And what advice does Kiah have for young people who encounter difficult situations?
I would definitely say keep fighting. Um, Change comes sometimes with being in uncomfortable situations. I know for me in my role, I've been in a lot of uncomfortable situations. There's not very many people of color in the higher levels of victim advocacy. And so there's a lot of meetings that I go to where I'm the only person of color. And so I have learned that sometimes we have to have hard conversations and people don't always know how to approach those who don't look like me. And I have to offer grace while also teaching because I don't think change will happen unless everybody really understands what's going on. And there are a lot of people who really don't understand what's going on um, that don't look like me. And so I would say teach, keep pressing on, be patient, offer grace when necessary. I understand sometimes people aren't being nice, and it's okay to handle those situations accordingly, but we have to do better at, I think, teaching and being somewhat of an open book so that we can, for our allies who are with us, we need to make sure they're relaying the right information. Sometimes what I've learned is people are more willing to listen to people who look like them. And so if I can teach the people who I know are safe people that don't look like me, and they go out and teach people who aren't safe people for me to talk to me, that'll make a greater impact than me just not saying anything to anybody and being mad.